I grabbed his shirt and slammed him into the car hood. Outside the restaurant where she said she was having dinner with her cousin. She ran out screaming. I dropped the ring between them, then walked inside. Her parents were at the back table. Her dad stood as I passed. She didn't know they were there, but they watched everything, and they never said a word. I was supposed to propose the next weekend. The ring had been sitting in my coat pocket for a week already. Platinum, round cut, just over 2 carats. I'd gone back and forth between settings so many times I could practically recite diamond clarity metrics in my sleep. But when I saw that one, it reminded me of the way she smiled when she wasn't thinking anyone was watching. We'd been together 3 years, lived together for 2. I thought I knew everything about her. I thought I'd figured it out, the life, the house, the future. But the signs didn't start as neon. They started quiet. Her phone stopped ringing when I was in the room. She used to laugh when she got texts. Now she glanced at her screen like she was checking stock prices, then slid it face down. One night, she said she was going out for dinner with her cousin. She dressed nicer than usual, hair curled, heels on, perfume that made the whole hallway smell like a designer store. I offered to drive her. She said no. Her cousin was picking her up. I didn't ask questions, but something stuck. Maybe it was how fast she said it. Maybe it was the way she grabbed her purse before I finished my sentence. Later that night, I checked her cousin's Instagram, not out of suspicion, just curiosity. But I stopped cold. Photos from a cabin in Colorado. Posted hours ago. Her cousin was 3 states away. I told myself there was probably an explanation. Maybe a different cousin. Maybe a post from earlier. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But then it kept happening. The following weekend, she said she was heading to a friend's bachelorette party. I didn't ask which friend. I didn't want to seem insecure. But that same night, I scrolled past a post from that friend, eating popcorn in her living room with her fiancé. Nowhere near a club. No bachelorette sash. Just a casual night at home. I screenshotted it. Closed Instagram. Sat on the couch staring at the wall for a full hour. The next morning, I asked how the party was. She said it was wild. Said she and her friends got back late and crashed on the floor. I asked which friend. She said Sarah. The same Sarah who was watching Netflix with her fiancé across town. I didn't say anything. Not then. I just said cool and kissed her forehead. But I started keeping track. I printed screenshots. I saved timestamps. I quietly installed an old location tracker app we used to use during our road trips, under the guise of safety. She still had it running. She kept telling me I was the one she wanted to spend forever with. Meanwhile, I started to suspect I was just a convenient backdrop to whatever else was going on behind the curtain. Then came the Tuesday night lie that finally cracked everything open. She told me her cousin was in town, again, and they were going out for dinner. This time at a trendy new Italian place downtown. She dressed up again, said it was just a girls' night. Told me not to wait up. I nodded, smiled, and told her to have fun. Then I called my best friend, Jordan. I told him everything. Every lie. Every hunch. Every screenshot. He didn't try to talk me down. He just asked where and when. Give me an hour, he said. I'll follow her. You stay by your phone. It was the longest hour of my life. I sat in my car in the parking lot behind a pharmacy, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. My phone stayed silent for 48 minutes. Then it buzzed. I picked up before it finished ringing. She's not with her cousin, Jordan whispered. She's with a guy? Tall, maybe early 30s. Clean cut, button-down shirt. They just walked into the place together, holding hands. That was it. I didn't even respond. I just turned the key and backed out of the lot like I was chasing someone who owed me years. The ring was still in my pocket. That was the part that made everything burn worse. I still had it with me. I was going to propose next week on the pier where we had our first kiss. I had the restaurant booked. I told her parents. I'd rehearsed the speech. Now I was doing 80 in a 45, heading toward the same restaurant she'd lied about, ready to drop that ring in the middle of the lie she thought she was keeping clean. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got there. I just knew I needed to see it for myself. When I pulled up and parked across the street, I saw them instantly. Outside on the patio, sitting near the heaters. She was smiling. He was leaning forward, saying something that made her laugh. Her fingers were near his. Their wine glasses clinked. She looked happier than I'd seen her in weeks. I stayed in the car. I stared so hard I thought my eyes would bleed. I didn't blink for 10 minutes. I just watched, waited, recorded the whole thing in my head. Every glance, every gesture, every sip. I don't know how long I sat there. I just know that eventually, I stopped shaking. And then I opened the door. I stepped out of the car like I was stepping into a different world, one where the rules I thought we lived by didn't apply anymore. The streets looked normal. The restaurant still had its warm lights, its white tablecloths, the clink of glasses, and the hum of conversation drifting out from the open windows. But to me, it was all stage lighting. The show was about to start. I crossed the street slowly. Not running. Just moving with purpose. every step tightening the coil in my chest. I kept my eyes locked on the two of them. They hadn't noticed me yet. He reached for his wine. She leaned closer. The way her shoulders dropped when she smiled. It was the same look I used to get after she had a good day at work. The same softness. The same warmth. But now, it was for someone else. As I reached the edge of the sidewalk, I stepped between a row of parked cars. I was 10 feet from them now. I saw her in full. The dress she bought on our last trip together, the earrings I gave her for our second anniversary, the same hairstyle she once wore when I told her she looked beautiful without trying. She laughed at something the guy said and tilted her head back. He was saying something low, and she was hanging on to every word like it was sacred. That was enough. I moved before I could think. I came around the last parked car, reached the edge of the patio where their table sat, and locked eyes with him first. He didn't see me coming. I grabbed his shirt in one fist, dragged him out of the chair so fast it toppled over, and slammed him across the hood of the nearest car with a force that made the whole street freeze. People gasped. Silverware clattered onto plates. A glass broke somewhere behind me. He grunted hard, face pressed against the cool metal, eyes wide with shock. My hand didn't leave his shirt. I didn't punch him. I didn't shout. I just held him there, like a warning to every other smug coward who thought he could lie his way into someone else's world. Kelsey screamed behind me. Her chair scraped loudly as she stood. I felt her footsteps closing in, panicked and fast. She started crying my name, but I didn't look at her. I kept my grip steady, then finally let go. He stumbled back, catching himself on the car mirror. He turned toward me, dazed and stammering. Still no words from my end. Then I reached into my coat pocket. The ring was still there, same little velvet box, same weight I thought I'd feel just before starting a new life. I flicked it open. It sparkled for just a second in the streetlight. She went completely silent. Then I looked at her, really looked at her, and her face crumpled into this terrible, collapsing panic. The truth was everywhere now. There were people filming with their phones. Waiters frozen mid-step. A guy across the street was yelling something, but it barely registered. I took one step forward, still holding the open box in my hand. Then I turned it upside down. The ring fell. It hit the pavement with a sound louder than anything else. Louder than the guy gasping. Louder than Kelsey trying to explain. Louder than every apology that never came. The box followed. I dropped it between them, her and him, like an offering. And I walked away. But I didn't leave. I turned instead. Walked straight past the two of them, through the restaurant doors. The hostess said something, but I didn't stop. I kept walking down the narrow aisle of tables until I reached the back corner booth. Her parents were sitting there. Her mom looked up first. Her wine glass shook in her hand. Her dad's mouth was slightly open. He had a cloth napkin draped over one knee and a stunned expression, like his mind was trying to catch up with what his eyes had just seen. They hadn't seen me walk in with Kelsey. They hadn't seen the kiss, the hand-holding, the man sitting across from her. But they had seen the aftermath. The ring, the guy pinned to the car, their daughter screaming in the street. And now they were seeing me. Not yelling, not pleading, just walking toward them with a truth too loud to ignore. I stopped at their table. Her father stood. Not fully, just enough to acknowledge me. His mouth opened to speak, but I raised a hand, not to silence, but to say, "You saw it too." Then I walked out. As I stepped back onto the street, Kelsey was on her knees, picking the ring up off the pavement. The other guy was half a block away already, walking quickly, avoiding every camera. Her eyes met mine, wide and wet. Her lips moved, but I didn't hear her. I didn't care. I didn't stop walking. I left everything there. The lies, the ring, the broken version of her trying to hold both lives together. And I let the city swallow the moment. Back in the car, my hands shook as I turned the key. Not from regret. From relief. She wasn't just cheating. She was performing. Laughing, lying, weaving entire evenings of fiction into dinners with people she thought I'd never meet. But she forgot that lies don't age well under restaurant lighting. And they definitely don't survive when your parents are sitting 20 feet away. I didn't text her. Didn't call her. I just drove home in silence, the seat beside me empty, not just physically, but metaphorically. It had been empty for weeks. I just didn't want to believe it. I parked, went inside, and opened my laptop. Then I pulled up a folder titled "Just in Case." The next morning, my phone didn't stop buzzing. At first, I ignored it. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how far back it went. How long had I been someone's placeholder? Was it weeks? Months? Had the entire engagement been a smokescreen for whatever game she was playing? By 9 a.m., the calls changed from her name to Mom, Kelsey's. Then Dad, Kelsey's. Then unknown number, probably him. I ignored them all until noon. Then I got a text from her mother. "Daniel, can we talk? Privately." No anger. 5 minutes later, the phone rang again. This time, I picked up. She didn't sound angry. Just calm. Too calm. "Daniel, she began. Kelsey told us what happened. She's extremely shaken. She said you thought she was cheating and you attacked a stranger. A man she bumped into at dinner. She says it wasn't romantic at all. That was how they were going to play it. That it was me. The unhinged one. The jealous one who embarrassed her. The man who flipped over a dinner between family members or acquaintances. I didn't respond immediately. I let the silence speak for a few seconds. Then I said, "Are you free in an hour?" They agreed to meet at a local cafe. I didn't bring anger to that table. I brought a folder. When I walked in, they were already seated. Her mother gave a faint, uncomfortable smile. Her father didn't even look at me until I sat down. I placed the folder on the table, unopened. "She's lying," I said. "And I can prove it." They didn't interrupt. I think they already knew. I opened the folder and slid the first page forward. A printed screenshot of Kelsey's cousin's Instagram post. Timestamped the night Kelsey said they were at dinner. Cabin in Colorado. Nowhere near the city. Next, I slid a screenshot of Sarah's story. Home with her fiancé the night of the bachelorette party. Then a message exchange between Kelsey and me where she claimed she was at that party. The same night Sarah posted from her couch. Then I dropped the final sheet. A photo, taken by my best friend Jordan, of Kelsey entering the restaurant with the same guy I slammed against the car the night before. Their hands were linked. Her smile was the kind of smile you don't give to friends. I looked up. Her mother's lips parted. She didn't speak. Her father leaned back in his chair like he'd been punched in the chest. He stared at the image for a long time. "You were sitting inside that restaurant when I pulled him out," I said. "You were waiting for her. She was meeting him instead." No one argued. Her mother finally said, "We had no idea she was meeting someone else. We thought she was running late. She said she'd join us after appetizers." Her father looked at me, and his voice dropped to something heavier. "We didn't raise her to do this." I didn't respond. It wasn't my job to parent their daughter. I stood, left the folder on the table, and walked out. That night, I started packing up her things. It wasn't impulsive. It was methodical. One box at a time. All her books, her clothes, her toiletries. I didn't throw anything. I didn't destroy anything. I just separated what no longer belonged in my life. Halfway through boxing her shoes, my phone buzzed again. It was a message from an unknown number. "Hey, you don't know me, but I think we need to talk. I'm the guy Kelsey had dinner with last night. My name's Sean. She told me you two broke up months ago." I froze. I stared at the message for a full minute before replying. "Meet." He sent a location. Public, quiet. A coffee shop off Main Street. I met Sean that night. He looked tired, angry, embarrassed. The first thing he said after sitting down was, "I didn't know she was engaged." I didn't say anything. I wanted him to talk. "She told me you were her crazy ex," he continued. "That you were stalking her. That she had to block you." I raised an eyebrow. "So you didn't know about the ring?" He looked confused. "What ring?" I reached into my jacket and pulled out the empty box. He looked inside, then back at me, horrified. "She told me she wasn't ready for anything serious," he said. "She said she was healing from a toxic relationship and just wanted something light." I believed her. "But when you showed up and grabbed me, I thought you were some lunatic until I saw her face." He leaned forward. I looked her dead in the eye and asked, "Who was that?" She just stammered. "Wouldn't even say your name." I walked out. Then she followed me, screaming that she could explain. Sean pulled out his phone and showed me the final nail in the coffin. A screenshot of their messages from the same night. The same minute she was sitting across from him, she was texting me. "Miss you already. Can't wait to be home again." Same timestamp. 2 screens. One lie too many. I asked him to forward the image. He did. Then I showed him a folder of my own. Everything I had. He stared at the stack of evidence like it was the autopsy of a woman he thought he knew. We didn't make any dramatic pact. We didn't shake hands like movie allies. But we both left knowing the same truth. She wasn't loyal. She wasn't confused. She was calculated. She wanted everything. The ring, the side piece, the performance. I went home, sat on the edge of the bed, looked around at the boxes stacked like tombstones of a life that almost was. Then I made a decision. The next morning, I created a group text. It included her parents, my parents, her bridal party, her close friends, my close friends, one of her coworkers I'd met at a holiday party. I didn't write a caption. I didn't rant. I just attached the folder. Screenshots, dates, proof. Then I hit send. I sent the message and turned off my phone. No warning. No dramatic statement. Just the truth dropped into a group chat like a grenade. I knew exactly what would happen. She'd panic. Call every number. Claim it was fake, out of context, photoshopped. Try to spin it like I was bitter, unstable, obsessed. But this time, she couldn't lie her way out. Because I didn't give them my opinion. I gave them receipts. An hour later, I checked my phone again. 38 missed calls. 12 voicemails. 9 messages from her friends. 3 from her work colleague. and 2 from numbers I didn't even recognize. The group chat had exploded. Some people just reacted with disbelief, some with disgust. One bridesmaid posted a single message. "You're kidding me." The whole time. By noon, 2 of her bridesmaids had removed her from their profiles. By 1 p.m., her wedding planner emailed me to confirm the cancellation. Apparently, Kelsey had called in tears, saying the engagement was off and they needed to pause everything indefinitely. I didn't reply. Instead, I sent a quick note to the venue. Then the florist, the caterer, the DJ, all booked under my name, all tied to my account. Every contract. Cancelled. No explanation needed. The ring? I had already boxed it, attached the original receipt, and sent it to her parents' house via overnight delivery. Let them deal with it. Around 3 p.m., my doorbell rang. It was Kelsey. Makeup streaked, hair tied in a mess, shirt barely on right. She looked like she hadn't slept, like her whole face had collapsed under its own weight. I didn't open the door. She started crying outside, asking me to talk, saying we needed to be mature, that it wasn't what I thought. Her voice cracked, then got louder, then accusatory, then back to begging. I didn't say a word. I just sat on the couch, listened to her spiral, and waited for her to exhaust herself. After 10 minutes, she started pounding on the door. Then came the part one expected. She screamed that I ruined her life, that I was cruel, that she was confused, that I had no right to share our private issues with her family, with the world. She said I was trying to humiliate her. And she was absolutely right, because she didn't just betray me. She betrayed people who trusted her, who helped plan that wedding, who believed she was someone worth standing beside in white. Now they saw her clearly. As she kept yelling, one of my neighbors walked by. Then another. She noticed, went quiet, then bolted down the steps and out of view. A few hours later, I got a message from her other boyfriend, Sean. He'd blocked her, then posted a message of his own on his story. Never settle for someone who thinks you're a backup plan. I've learned my lesson. Tag nobody. But people knew. I heard through a mutual friend that Kelsey's bridal group chat, the one she used to plan every detail of her perfect day, had turned into a war zone. Half of them had left. The others were arguing about who knew what and when. One girl said she had warned people but was ignored. By that weekend, the wedding website was gone. Deactivated. Canceled like a bad show that never got past the pilot. I didn't hear anything from her parents. But the refund for the ring showed up in my account with a simple note. Apologies. J&M. Then came the final twist I hadn't even expected. Kelsey's coworker messaged me privately, said the company had seen the screenshots and was conducting a review. Apparently, she had used the company card a few times to cover meals and gifts, supposedly for client meetings. But the receipts matched the places she went with Sean. The timeline didn't lie. She was put on leave by the end of that week. Not because I filed a complaint, not because I ruined her career, but because she used her position as a cover for a double life. People think consequences are always loud, that they come like explosions or courtroom verdicts. But in reality, they're quiet. A chair left empty, a text unanswered, an inbox filled with silence. She didn't just lose a fiancé. She lost the version of herself she had been selling to everyone around her. I moved out a few weeks later. Took a new apartment across the city. No ceremony, no speech. Just packed the last of the boxes, left her keys with the landlord, and locked the door behind me. One night, I went back to that same restaurant, the one where everything fell apart. It was a Friday. Busy. Tables packed. Lights glowing the same way they had that night. As I passed by, I glanced across the patio. There was a new couple sitting at that same table, laughing, leaning close, wine glasses clinking softly. The dent in the car hood was still there. A waiter coming out with a tray looked up, saw me, and smiled faintly. "You're the guy from that night, right?" I didn't answer. Didn't need to. I kept walking, and I didn't look back. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.